Here. Chat. My mothership here is going a little slow. But I think we're good now. How we doing, chat? Happy Friday. December 3rd, man. Have you guys gotten holidayed up yet? You have Christmas trees up. We got ours up. And I'm gonna squeeze every drop out of the Christmas season in my place, man. I've been wanting to do that for years. A lot of movies every night. Yo, speaking of movies, chat, there's a movie called Finch. It's on Apple TV or other streaming services that you may or may not attain legally. Check that out, man. Tom Hanks, a robot, and a dog. It was such a good flick. I loved it. How we doing, chat? Who's out here? Big League Stu, Josh Jennings, Mia Moore, Darren, Fish Fan, what up, pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson, Rich Homie Quan in the chat, Marty G. How we doing, fellas and ladies? Let's eat. Yes, sir. I'm with it. Let's see. You made it happen in the chat. I think I got it. Janice, thanks for your help. Gun actually won $200 and $2 yesterday. Let's go. Came in third. Man, that's low. Yesterday was weird, right? Right before lock, we got hit with that Giannis curveball, and I didn't know how to react because I didn't know how the field would react. Because back in my day, news 15 minutes before lock gave you like less than 10% owned amazing plays, but the field not only corrected, perhaps overcorrected and overcompensated for Giannis being out, and we saw Middleton, Bobby Portis, guys like that reach 40+% own when, like, I guess Drew Holiday was the main guy you needed to have there. So good to know that the field is sharp as a tack and quick as a whistle. What up, Crispy? What up, Lorenza? What is a Christmas paint? Yo, we did do some Christmas painting. So what is a Christmas painting? We just buy a blank canvas, draw and paint. We're into that artsy fartsy stuff. I drew and painted a snowman. Very basic, very simple. But she did Nightmare Before Christmas characters, and it looks pretty slick. Just watched it. Tom Hanks, the man. Yo, you made it happen. Tom Hanks, man. That dude has unlimited range, man. He just don't miss, right? Bangers on bangers. Definitely an incredible category. What up, EB? Gun was crying. What do you mean in Finch? Yeah, I did. I'm a crybaby. I ain't ashamed of that. It is what it is. What up, Mighty Saint? Alex in the chat. How we doing? You guys doing all right? Anyway, last night Julius Randle led the entire slate, 56 DKP. Jeremy Grant was second, 52, and then my boy, the homie, the spirit animal, DeJounte Murray, 15, 7, 13, a pair of steals to boot. We actually hit the stream PrizePicks card yesterday, right? We went with DeJounte Murray over and Jaren Jackson Jr. over. And then, yeah, oh my goodness, the Memphis Grizzlies. Oh yeah, right when we got off the air yesterday, SGA ruled out. And we saw a shellacking, a beatdown, a horrendous, one-sided game of basketball. And it was multifaceted in its results in terms of messing up the player pool, right? If you're like me, you had a lot of Jaren Jackson. I ended up tier 1ing him. Yo, shout out to Adrian with the 2-week RunDFS.com sub. You know we got love for people that sub bars. If you sign up during the air, I'll shout you out during the air while we're on the air. Tyus Jones, 35 DKP, 21 minutes. Holy. And then Santi Aldama, 40.5 DKP, 28 minutes, 18 and 10. John Concher, 26 minutes, 35.5. I mean, this Grizzlies Thunder game was, it just, you never see this in the NBA. And oh my goodness, the Thunder without Josh Giddey, without SGA, it's not what you want. It's not what you want. And then, of course, Grizzlies doing this without John Morant. So, incredible outlier game for us to experience on a 5-gamer. Hopefully you guys had the right pieces of that. You're really couldn't go that wrong with the Grizzlies, and the only guy that really would have steered you into off a bridge into a ravine is Dylan Brooks, man. Who would have thunk it? He'd have been the worst play on the Grizzlies. 15 minutes for him, 11 real points. Was 5 of 9. He just didn't play minutes and didn't need to. So, man, what a game. What a game. Okay, so yeah, they got Bush pictures being sent. Oh, you guys want to see the pics of the drawings? Speaking of which, let me close. I got 8 million tabs open. Where'd you put it? An OG. All right, I'll share it in a minute when we go full screen here, chat. I'll show it to you guys too. Let me make sure I got all the right screens up before we get to screen sharing. We'll also talk about some of the news today. We got plenty of games with basketball on the docket, so probably going to be more news coming. But if you're on Twitter, boom, there's the tweet, man. Show us some love. Hit a like, hit a retweet. And I will be forever indebted. And then I guess, hey, it's Happy Friday. We'll do another Week Pass giveaway at 100 likes. And that's been pretty good. Also, where we start at the stream on subs, looks like we're at 5,663 subscribers. So, in our chase for 6K, we'll try and track it. If I sustain the pace of the last 7 days, we might have a shot for 6K. But the pace of the last 30 days, not so much. But the last couple days has just been bangers. This has been a really, really good week. All right, we'll show you. Let's do some. Let's show off the paintings, and then we'll talk about some news here. So breakdown one cam. I guess I should have put that on the big screen. Bam! That's my snowman, guys. I drew that. I painted that. And I put some peace and love with glitter, and then she did this bad boy right here, Nightmare Before Christmas, and then the gun dagger's a little spaced out on the curve side, but it's cute. I love it. So yeah, get cute for Christmas, guys. It's fun. What up, Izzo? Can we get a why can't I quit you? That's not a Forrest Gump voice, by the way. I guess I say it wrong, but that's a Brokeback Mountain reference. I've never seen it. I read the articles. What up, Justin? Doing all right? All right. Key news to watch from Underdog NBA. Karl-Anthony Towns questionable. LeBron James AD probable. Kevin Porter Jr. questionable. Anthony Edwards probable. Kristaps Porzingis doubtful. Tobias Harris to be determined. Josh Hart questionable. And then we saw Nick Claxton said he's available. It's always good when the player says they're available. RJ Barrett probable. That's for tomorrow. Nothing else. Cam Reddish got rolled out, so that's going to beef up our minutes for Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, maybe some Timothy Luwawu, Solomon Hill season, right? DJ Augustine health protocols available play. That's significant if KPJ can't go. For the most part, I think that's it. Christian Wood said he'll play, so that's good. Cat went through shoot around, so he's probably closer to in than out. And that's it. Anybody? Am I missing anything? You guys see any banger news that I should be focused on? I think that's it. Then of course this stream, as every stream, brought to you by RunDFS.com. If you guys want to navigate the same spreadsheet that I'm gonna navigate throughout the duration of this stream, make sure you hit up RunDFS.com. Check out a membership. Get into the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, and then every day before lock, jump in that pre-lock voice chat, man. We're having some fun lately, vibing out, making some friends in the DFS space, but also carving out our player pool. It's part of my daily process for half a decade now, and you guys know we've added extra utility. Every membership comes with a voucher towards Fantasy Cruncher, so a little extra utility on the newly discounted prices, right? What up, Brody? Doing all right? Danny's is much better. Danny's is always better because she has those small hands that can really put a little bit more detail. Me, my goal making that painting was simple. Keep it simple, stupid, right? The old Kiss adage. The more basic, the less mistakes I can make. So we got some more blank canvases. Maybe I'll test myself, but well, we'll see. Trip, thanks last night, Simmons. Anthony Simons, man, that hurt. I've been very much so the victim of a lot of injuries lately, and I know some of you guys have experienced that here and there, and it's gonna happen. It's NBA injuries, foul problems, stuff like that. But yeah, last couple of days I've just been getting shellacked with injuries. That KPJ Christian Wood against OKC double injury was nasty last night. Anthony Simons going down. What are you gonna do? What up, Mr. Shiz? VIP chat is the best 2 hours of your day. Speaking of which, I guess Raj didn't get back to me. It's fine. Like I said, Raj had a family emergency this week, so tending to that. But he did pop into the voice chat yesterday, and also when I woke up today, chat. Would you believe this? Raj says at Gundacker, what is your PrizePicks code? What? How do you not know that? I was like, you really don't listen to me on this stream, right? That's incredible that you don't know that. Everyone knows it. It's code Gundacker, right? Everyone knows if you use code Gundacker and you sign up for PrizePicks, they'll match your first deposit up to $100, and you get to bet on player props. It's a lot of fun. Let me sort my player projections for those of you that are in the VIP. This I just updated. It's about 10 minutes ago while I was going live. So if you guys are looking to do some early shopping on some of your favorite or on some lines for PrizePicks and stuff like that, or trying to carve out early player pool, these are my projections from about maybe 20 minutes ago. It's a little bit more apropos. But we have to do some slate choppage, man. We're ready to go. So hopefully you guys are ready to go. You know the drill. If you've already done a little bit of research, kind of share what you're on early in the chat game by game here. If we miss something, or you disagree with something, or you agree with something, or you got a couple questions, you know me, man. I like to go game by game here, interact with you guys, and make sure we get to the bottom of everything. I guess we'll also open up stat news. I feel like we don't use stat news as much lately. So we got the AMF tabs open, we got stat news open, we got a DraftKings tab open, and the spreadsheet. Guess that's it, and we'll open up PrizePicks in a little bit, right? My wife is an artist on things that are never done. Yeah, it's yeah. What's up, Darnell? You doing all right? Let's zoom in on the spreadsheet just a little bit, right? I'm getting old. Here we go. All right, game number one on today's slate: Miami Heat at the Indiana Pacers. Project starting five for the Heat: Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, PJ Tucker, Dwayne Dedmon taking on Malcolm Brogdon, Chris Duarte, Karis LeVert, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Timmy Turner. I did forget to open up my injury news and notes. We got 206.5 total here. 5-point spread in favor of the home team Indiana Pacers. It dropped a couple days ago that Bam Adebayo is going to have to miss 6 weeks with some surgery here, so you might expect Dwayne Dedmon to be the main beneficiary for the foreseeable future, at least until Markieff Morris can come back and help add some depth here. So Dedmon's somebody that may earn his way to an even greater price tag, but instead of being $100 above min price today, he went to $5,500 on Fanduel, $4,800 on DraftKings. Is that enough to push you away? Without Jimmy Butler, I think I'm still there on him. And speaking of Jimmy Butler, we do have Butler listed as out with a tailbone contusion, so be cognitive of that. Man, these random O's from this keyboard are driving me nuts. They're just like errant letter O's. So without Jimmy Butler, without Bam Adebayo, we expect the Heat to at least take a little bit of a step backwards in terms of defensive efficiency. We know Butler and Adebayo are two of their stronger defenders. And it can't help them offensively, but we do move the needle of usage to Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, and then, like I said, Dwayne Dedmon could fill a role here. Now, soft projections on 29 minutes of Dwayne Dedmon did spit back over 30 fantasy points for me on both ends. Pacers are a team that, with their double big front court, Turner and Sabonis, you kind of got to stay big out there, and the Heat really have no choice but to kind of lean on Dedmon as much as they can. So I think I'm still there on Dwayne Dedmon, but he's obviously not the smash lock of the century value play at this price that he was last slate. Bless you. Kyle Lowry's almost 8K on DK, 7,500 for Tyler Hero. But he's only 6,500 on FanDuel, so this becomes one of the more stark contrasts in pricing between the sites. 65 on FanDuel, I mean $1,300 discrepancy from site to site. We'll pull up his usage rate here, but you got to imagine without Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, Lowry and Hero will absorb a lot of the official usage, and that just might be a little too cheap on FanDuel to not get to a decent chunk of Kyle Lowry with a decent level of confidence. So we're going to go to the beginning of this season in just a bit, but for right now, the default is the beginning of last year. We're going to take Jimmy Butler off the court. We're going to take Adebayo off the court. We're just going to put Lowry on. I guess we could put Tyler Hero on as well, just to try and lock down the point that we're going to drive home. So I guess since Lowry's on, it'll automatically pull from this season. 115 minutes of sample size this year with Lowry and Hero on, while Butler and Adebayo are off. Hero takes over all of the usage in that sample size, 33%. Lowry's at 19%. Both of them over a point per minute, and the same can be said for Dwayne Dedmon. So is there enough meat on the bone to go 3 live crew with it on the Heat? It's not a warm and fuzzy three-man stack, but the viability is there for all of them. I think I would probably want to land on 2 or 3, and I think the first 2 more likely in this case are Hero and Dedmon, but I still think 6,500 for Lowry is a little too cheap as a guy who can stuff the stat sheet and flirt with triple doubles. On the Heat side, I know we are fans of the DVP, but Miles Turner, Domantas Sabonis, I think their matchup gets better than the perception. Bam Adebayo, probably the best individual center defender. Maybe Jakob Poeltl has a case there. But this opens up some opportunity for Sabonis and Turner to outperform their expectation. However, I don't feel like we're getting a smash deal on any of these prices individually. Maybe the FanDuel prices again remain a little bit softer. 8,500 for Sabonis I can get to, and then Miles Turner, if he's power forward eligible, still again under 7K on a site that rewards blocks a little bit more. We know Miles Turner will go and get those blocks, and the matchup maybe a little bit more primed for that. Tyler Hero, I think he pushed nearly 40% owned on that last FanDuel slate. He's 7K. I need 40 plus fantasy points. That's about what the projection is. So he's not going to be a core play for me here, but he's definitely going to be in the player pool. Maybe a high tier 3, low tier 2, depending on the rest of the slate. We do have a couple games that will trend a little bit more favorable in terms of pace and scoring, and I think I would prioritize my dollars in those games, but I still think Hero has a chance to put up 8K numbers here at 7K, at least on FanDuel. So I don't want to not go into battle without some of him. And then I wouldn't hate some shares of Malcolm Brogdon, but I really think we're going to lean elsewhere in terms of salary that we could put on the Pacers, the 78 to 85 on Brogdon, the 9,600 on Sabonis. I think all that money is going to be more, comfortably spent elsewhere. So unless you guys have any strong pushback on that, I think this game as a whole is a tier 3 for me, and I'm only going to get to bits and pieces. Any disagreements there? Was that a Mike Lowry? Kyle Lowry? What up, AFC Angelo? Angelo, you new here? I don't recognize the name, but I do get a little goofy with it. So hopefully you pick up on some of these references that others don't. Stat Muse request: Jeremiah Robinson Earl plus minus against the Grizzlies. All right. Yeah. Jeremiah Robinson Earl plus minus. This is gonna be great. What is he, like minus 70 against Grizzlies? 12-21. Oh, the chat bot. Oh shoot. I wish I could set that per scene. Let's put it down to 21. There we go. That'll look better. My bad. Plus minus of minus 56 versus the Grizzlies yesterday. Is that good? Well, it's not bad. No, it's bad. What's up, Patrick Reed? You doing all right? What's up, Encore? Just, I can't. I almost read that out loud, by the way. What up, J. Cole? J. Cole. Jermaine. Cole. Yeah, I mean, he was horrible, but the whole team was horrible, right? Like, that was. I mean, it was a historic, literal historic loss. I think it was the greatest deficit of all time. Yikes, right? Let's move on to the next game here. Washington Wizards hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. Projects 35 for the Cavs. Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Larry Markkinen, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen taking on Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, and Daniel Gafford. 208.5 total. We got 3-point spread in favor of the home team, Washington Wizards. Another low total, low pace, and tough defensive game. I think both teams are. I mean, we've kind of driven home the how strong the Wizards have been this year on defense. But the Cavs ain't nobody to mess with either, right? Top 10 in defensive efficiency. So you put them with Washington. Washington's kind of gone down to a little bit more of a neutral rating, but I also think that could be parlayed with a couple of games where guys were out. I think, this is a below average pace game and a above average defensive game. So not a lot to desire in terms of like game stack potential, but I guess we would isolate a couple plays individually and try to get to them. I think Jared Allen at AK 8,100, still an uncomfortable click, but still a viable click because of the minutes that he's getting. One of the softer spots to attack the Wizards is in the paint, and they are just a 21% offensive rebounding team. And we know a guy like Jared Allen, especially for FanDuel stakes, can go out there and get a lot of blocks. So I love Jared Allen because of the minutes he usually puts in. But yeah, it's not a bad matchup for him. Let me look at the points in the paint. I actually think I have to update points in the paint from yesterday. But Washington is top top 7 in points in the paint allowed. And Jared Allen's going to be a big points in the paint guy, a lot of dunks. So if we talk about how tough the defenses are and you find your lane, the lane here is to score on the Wizards in the paint between Gafford and Harrell. I think Allen at 8K could be a pleasant surprise for those that put a little bit of trust in him. Behind him, I think Ricky Rubio, sub 6K on both sites. You still kind of feel inclined to throw him in the player pool for MME. I got him at 26 minutes, still spitting back around a 30 fantasy point projection for me. I think Darius Garland on the FanDuel side is a little bit more warm and fuzzy than the DK price point. About a $600 discrepancy, so $600 represents what, 5 to 8 fantasy points. I think that's a little bit more obtainable on FanDuel, especially a guy like Garland who will go out there and get you those steals, and that'll boost up that FanDuel score that much more. And then Larry Markkinen, if Jetty Osman and Dean Wade are going to remain out, I like Markkinen's to solidify a shot at 30 minutes, and the projection spits back 30 fantasy points. So it kind of reminds me of like Franz Wagner of the Magic, where people just don't play him because he's between 5 and 6K, but he's been giving you a puncher's chance at 30 fantasy points every time he steps on the court. So if you guys just need some tier 3 stocking stuffers, I think Markkinen should be somebody to consider. 41, 27, 31, 36 in games not against the Heat. So I definitely don't mind Markkinen being in the player pool in this spot. So on the Wizards side, I haven't really found the need to get the Bradley Beal this season at almost 9K on both sides with the pace that they're running. Yeah, he's still going to absorb the most shots. He's likely going to give you 20 plus real points per game, but this isn't the same top 3 pace Wizards, bottom 1 defense Wizards where he's got to compensate for an extremely bad defense, right? The Patrick Mahomes effect. So he's just really out here spitting you between 40 and 50, and that's, at these prices, especially on a slate a little bit larger like this one, you're gonna want the 50 plus. So I don't have a lot of infatuation with getting to Bradley Beal today. Spencer Dinwiddie's getting to a price point that feels a little bit more comfortable. There's going to be a game or two in the future where a Beal is out, and if Dinwiddie's around 6K, yeah, 30 plus fantasy points is definitely obtainable. And I think it's obtainable in this spot today as well. The soft projections spit back 32 and 31 on the nose, so he's viable. Do we get a ceiling at this price point with with Bradley Beal, maybe that's a little bit longer of I don't know, a thought to meditate on. I would say the short answer is no, not really. So if you don't think there's a true ceiling at 6K here for 40 plus, I think on this slate you really gotta carve out guys that can pop. And I don't know that we see an explosion game considering the pace, considering the defense, and considering that he's sharing the court still with Beal, with Kuzma, and then Gafford and especially Montrezl Harrell can soak up some usage in their own right. And let's talk about Daniel Gafford while we are here. Gafford's 5K. He's a guy that's put together some strong games, 30 plus fantasy points in 4 straight games. 27 or less minutes, so he's extremely efficient in these fantasy points, but he's getting it done. He's stuffing the stat sheet, and we know his size may be needed against the Cavs team that plays I think the largest rotation in all of basketball between Markkanen, Mobley, and Allen is a bunch of just 7-footers. So if there is a game for Gafford to be stretched out minute wise, this would be it. So maybe 23 can get to the 27 minutes that we've seen in a couple of his last 4 games, and if that's the case, we have seen him be point per minute or greater. So a couple of names to isolate. I don't think I would allow more than 2 players from, maybe even 1, to be honest. In my lineups from each team, I tend to go team by team and set a cap of what's the most I would want from each team. And this one feels like one of those knockdown, drag out defensive chess matches that I don't want to load up on. But I will isolate guys that have some validity to play, and I think we've done that. So, you guys got any leans on this one? Let me know. OKC has a lot of non-caliber players. Yeah, they do. And it's also amazing that it wasn't that long ago Chris Paul had a lot of these guys scrapping for the playoffs. So obviously, SGA is a true NBA player, and it looks like Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, those are for real guys. But the rest of the team is a high-class G League team, and there's probably some G League teams that could take it to yesterday's Thunder team. Probably most of them, right? No, OKC would have lost to Purdue last night. Maybe. I think that's a little bit more fair. I feel like every year you always hear like, could the Lions beat Ohio State? And it's just like, yes, they could. That's the dumbest thing. But I guess with basketball, it's a little bit more unique, right? I guess I could see some college teams beating a couple of last night's Thunder team at least, right? Gafford double 4 straight. Yeah, Gafford's been getting it done. What up, Senior? Minutes seem to be slightly increasing too. Great pivot off Devin for Gafford. Yeah, I don't mind that. I'd like to get to 30 plus minutes comfortably in high tier guys today. So I think Gafford would just be kind of spin the wheel, make a deal on the bottom end. But yeah, his propensity to get there and his potential need for his size is definitely it definitely exists here, right? Let's move on to the next games. Philadelphia 76ers at the Atlanta Hawks. We got 216.5 total. Hawks favored by 1 in the hook. What the hook gonna be? Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid taking on Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, Timothy Luwawu, John Collins, and Clint Capella. 216.5. Like I said, is our total from the Department of Redundancy Department. A couple names that stick out here. So on the news and notes side of things, Atlanta Hawks, no Bogdanovich, no DeAndre Hunter, no Cam Reddish. So when all those guys are healthy, we know Bogdan and DeAndre Hunter were representing 28 to 30 plus minutes, and Reddish was trying to pick up some scraps lately. Did miss that last game, and it's going to be an immediate boost on Kevin Huerter's minutes and probably shot attempts, and then Trae Young probably a little bit deeper himself. So let's go look at that last Hawks game and see if we can't 1-to-1, maybe not 1-to-1, but kind of get an idea where the minutes, the rotations were, and who benefited that maybe we weren't on. Well, first of all, Luwawu did start that game, and I wouldn't have been shocked if Solomon Hill started that game or started this game. We've seen Solomon Hill just get used. But Timothy Luwawu, obviously somebody a little bit more active, and I do think is a better player for the Hawks to be put in this position. You guys may remember him from his days with the Brooklyn Nets. Was a GPP tournament winner a couple times during the 40-minute games when they didn't have anyone playing. And then Kevin Huerter, 34 minutes for him. Trae Young got to 37 minutes. We know the usage rates will bolster for Trae Young. Collins and Capela are up there as well. I think my favorite play from this game, I put him on the poster here. I think Trae Young. And I hate to get too attached to a guy like Trae Young because historically, man, it has burned me. But it just feels like this could be a run Trae at Joel Embiid night, but especially just get to Trae Young. 20-plus shot attempts in 3 of his last 4 games. The assists will be there. The peripherals will be there. And if you look at the way that the 76ers are kind of built, you feel like there's going to be more success against the guards than the centers here. So Trae Young, somebody I will have a decent chunk of. I probably don't tier 1 him, but I'm tempted to high tier 3, a low tier 2 him, and then Kevin Huerter's the next man up here, almost 5K on Fanduel, 5,100 on DK. I need 30 plus fantasy points. I do think this is an opportunity for him to be second or third on the team in shots, depending on if Capela is struggling with Joel Embiid and if John Collins can stay out of foul trouble and remain in the game. I just think Huerter's going to have too many minutes, too much opportunity today to kind of pass up here. 8 of 11 last game, 4 of those field goal attempts from downtown. He's just be in the pool. He's a little bit of an upgrade to like when you think of Joe Harris, right? Yeah, he's going to need some real points, but I think he can put enough peripherals in to raise that floor even more. So give me some Kevin Huerter. And then past that, Danilo Gallinari. Gallo, man. I got him for 27 minutes right now. Last slate, he saw 29 minutes against Indiana. I think it is volatile to say the least, but there is some upside in him. 29 earlier this season against Orlando, 35. You guys know Gallo has potential to be an incredible point per minute type of player. I don't have the warmer fuzzies because I think he could cross up with guys like Matisse Thybulle, Gorgeous Niang, guys like that. So I don't think he's ever going to have like a solid matchup that he should be steamrolling, but I just think his potential usage in extended minutes now versus what they would have been if Reddish was in and Bogdan Hunter, guys like that. So I just think he's in the pool based on salary, based on opportunity. And then Capela versus Collins. Usually lately I've been more on Capela's side, but I feel like this could be a spot where I kind of flip it a little bit. So let's go run an on-off query. Let's go pull up the Atlanta Hawks. And get caught up on chat while we're here. Marketing could be interesting low on him with that. Shout out to Murphy Lee there. That's a banger. Yeah. Beal hasn't been needed for a long time, especially this season. I mean, they need him, but he hasn't been. So remember those big Bradley Beal games were like 38 minutes, everyone was out, and his team was the worst defense in basketball, and they ran a top pace. So like Bradley Beal is still being solid, but the team doesn't suck as much, so he doesn't have to backpack 8 other dudes. You know what I'm saying? So let's set the AMF, NBA Wow, exclamation point AMF in chat if you guys want to do some of these queries on your own. Let's put Trae Young on the court. Let's put Collins on the court. And let's take off Boggy, Reddish, and Hunter. Do you guys think we're sleeping on TLC? 65 minutes of sample size, not much to go off of. 38% usage rate there for Trae Young. 1.5 DKP per points per minute. So obviously unsustainable. Maybe we can just test it. Elongate on the sample size to the beginning of last year. This isn't considering Capela, just Collins and Trae Young on 600 plus minutes. Trae Young still over 30% usage rate, 1.2, 1.3 fantasy points per minute. So I think Trae Young's that uncomfortable play for me because historically he's been consistently inconsistent, but lately, man, he's turned up and offered some decent fantasy games, 60, 50, 48, 61. So I'm gonna have a decent chunk of Trae Young. That's why we put him on the cover. But yeah, Timothy Luwawu, $200 above min price. Only got me to about 20 fantasy points on the projection based on 23 minutes. But if you thought maybe he could slip into a little deeper minutes, maybe 3,200 is a little too cheap to ignore. Did you guys plan, or do you plan on playing some Luwawu with any level of confidence? 25 minutes against the Pacers, 16 fantasy points. Much ado about nothing. Maybe a Dorian Finney-Smith type play with less built-in minutes. So I don't know, just something to think about. And then John Collins. What was Collins in that split? Collins is over a fantasy point per minute at 23% usage. While Capela in that split, 19% usage, 1.3 fantasy points per minute. I feel like I'm gonna be a little bit hesitant to load up on Capela today, just because Capela's usually what he needs for ceiling is a lot of blocks and a lot of rebounds. And I don't quite know what to expect for those categories against the 76ers. I guess it would come down to, do I think Tobias Harris can play or not? And I think all we got is questionable at best without going through shoot around, right? That's the story. Let me double check. Philly. Questionable illness, did not participate in shoot around. So I guess maybe if Tobias was on, but I feel like that would make me want to take a shot on Collins even more, right? 7K, get a $1,000 discount on DraftKings, 1,300. I reluctantly hit like after last night. Come on, damn Ron. Good feeling about Ruby. I like that. Historically speaking, does Embiid own Capela? I guess you're asking for a stat muse. We can look at that. Joel Embiid, DKP by game log versus Clint Capela. So, Capela is a strong interior defender, right? A lot of blocks, a lot of rim protection. But I think a guy like an Embiid could maybe draw him away from the rim a little bit more and succeed a little bit more. Earlier this season, on October 30th, he put up a point per minute in 30 minutes. And there may be some skepticism on Embiid's health. We have seen him play over 30 minutes since coming back. Matter of fact, he played a marathon of a game, the Minnesota game, 45. So that's encouraging. But I still don't expect, much over 32, 33, unless Tobias Harris is out. If Tobias Harris is out and they need this game to stay competitive, he might play deeper minutes. But historically speaking, if you're worried about the matchup, it's a wide range of outcomes, a couple 50s, a 70, 60. I don't think Capela is the archetype center that I would be too concerned about here. I think I don't really worry about Joel Embiid anyway. I think when he's on, he's on. He's just a beast. I'm playing Clippers 1, 2, 3, LeBron, Embiid, and value. Good night. All right, I'm with that. Really like Gallo for tournaments, 29 minutes. The last game, Reddish missed, and he fills up the categories when he's out there. Yeah, I like the Gallo minutes and opportunity. I don't love the Gallo matchup, right, against Brunson or not Brunson. I read Brunson and Jay against Matisse Thybulle, Gorgeous Hang, but I think the opportunity for him to be great is there. Trae scored 30-plus real-life points of 5 straight. Yeah, that's really good. BP, I like Jay Rich for value on DK. 3,800 should get more minutes with no Jalen Brown. He should still play in case of a blowout. I can get with that. Lorenza, John Collins, Trae Young, Lob City. Yeah, I have a nice projection on Collins. 40 fantasy points, 7K on Fanduel. On DK. That's a really decent area to be at. So, give me Trae, give me Collins. 8K for Capela, man. That's up there. I do like Capela's ceiling in the right spot. I'm thinking I'm gonna end up convincing myself this ain't the right spot. I don't know. You guys want to run that query back? How do you want to reverse it? Clint Capela, DKP by game log versus Joel Embiid last 10 games. It's not that great. 28, 32 minutes, 38, 38. Yeah, I think I don't play Capela today. I'll just get the Collins, Trae Young, Kevin Huerter. Tyrese Maxey's on the south side of 7K on both FanDuel and DraftKings. I feel like if Tobias Harris is out, we get to somebody else, not just Embiid, right? And Maxey could be that dude. So let's see if we can't put some sample size on some usage rates for Philadelphia here. And we'll keep it to this season. We don't want to play with the Ben Simmons and all that stuff. And we'll just take off Tobias Harris. We'll put Embiid on. And then I guess also Maxey. Feels like it'll come down to like a Maxey or Seth Curry real scoring game if Tobias Harris is out. 97 minutes of this split. Maxey has just a 14% usage rate, and it's Joel Embiid and Seth Curry first and second. So maybe it would be, I guess exactly what I said. Maxey and Curry flip a coin between them. So the projection is pretty modest on these guys' points per dollar. So hopefully Tobias Harris plays and we don't have to wrestle with that. But if Toby can't go, I think we would have to at least consider that. And then if Tobias Harris can't go, we'll see what they do in terms of stretching out that fourth big wing, whether it be Matisse Thybulle, Gorgeous Nang, somebody like that, or if they really stretch out and put a shooter like Korkmaz in a lineup, and then guessing who can back up Embiid in usage and real points becomes a little bit trickier. Let's move on to the next game. D. Howard starting it. Dwight Howard should have been starting over DeAndre. Game number 1, right? T-Wolves at the Brooklyn Nets. Next game on the docket. Project starting 5 for the T-Wolves. D'Angelo Russell crossing over with Anthony Edwards, Tarin Prince, Jared Vanderbilt, Karl Anthony Towns, the big cat, Ernie Ladd taking on James Harden, Patty Mills, DeAndre Bembry, Kevin Durant, and Lamarcus Aldridge. 2-2-2 and another 1-2 is our total. 7.5 point spread in favor of the home team. Brooklyn Nets. T-Wolves have a laundry list of news and notes to go through. So let's go do some laundry. Anthony Edwards. Illness is expected to play. Karl Anthony Towns, tailbone, went through morning shoot around ahead of their game in Brooklyn, and the team will, quote, see how he feels tonight, end quote, before deciding if he'll play. And if one of those two end up surprisingly not playing, but it looks like we slap a probable tag on Edwards, it would bolster potential usage for the other two, meaning of the big three, D-Russ, Edwards, Cat. If he lost one, the other two would raise their floor. D-Russ, a little bit of Brooklyn narrative in the mix here. He's 8,200 on FanDuel, 87 on DK. I don't hate any of the big three individually as a play. You know, I tend to 2 of 3 of them, right? Set a group on Fantasy Cruncher, no more than 2 of these 3 in a lineup. Sometimes just 1 of 3, depending on how this news shakes out, would be kind of how we govern that. If Cat can't go, you would probably see big ownership and big potential value numbers on the projection for a guy like Naz Reid. And Jared Vanderbilt, for sure, I think has 30-plus fantasy point potential with minutes given to him. Matter of fact, I gave him 33 minutes as is. And he's sub 6K on FanDuel, 4,800 on DK. He's not going to shoot, but he will fill up the stat sheet with peripherals if he can go. 12 rebounds, 14 rebounds, the steals, the blocks, all that's there. So if a guy like Cat, who can represent double-digit shot attempts, goes down, and a guy like Vanderbilt gets a little bit more opportunity, maybe 3 shots goes to 8 shots, you know what I'm saying? That much more potential. So I don't dislike Vanderbilt as an opportunity play here if Cat is unable to go. But him going through shoot around, I would probably prepare myself as if all of the T-Wolves big three are going to play this game, and wouldn't get too married to the thought of playing Vanderbilt or Naz Reid. The total being over 220, I kind of like that to start with a guy like James Harden. I got him at 58 FanDuel points. If we go to our soft projections in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, James Harden came in second in raw fantasy points. Kevin Durant third. You're second and third to Luka Doncic. Luka without Kristaps Porzingis makes sense, right? But I noticed it on the last slate as well, where Harden had the highest raw point projection, and then for whatever reason, by hook or by crook, didn't pick up maybe the ownership that he deserved. And at 10.4K, we're talking $1,100 cheaper than his DK price. With him being dual position eligible, James Harden should be a rock, right? He should be nestled in to at least a high tier 2 exposure, if not tier 1. I just think his floor is that high. He's found that groove, and his minutes are where they need to be. You might worry about the spread seesawing a little bit into blowout territory, but the T-Wolves have been scrapping this year, so I wouldn't want to write them off, and I think they can hang around. And Harden on Fanduel definitely looks like one of my favorite plays here. Looks like DeAndre Bembry projected to be back in that starting lineup again. He had been filling in, I guess, for Bruce Brown, and then Bruce Brown got hurt, and then they just kept him in the starting lineup, and he's just been kind of okay. And every now and then, for FanDuel's sake, at 4,400 and as a YOLO small forward, he'll get there. So I don't mind putting him in the back end of the player pool for FanDuel. Also, a little bit of Tarin Prince narrative if you're into that. I don't think I'm getting to Tarin Prince today, but maybe he surprises some people at under 4K on FanDuel, 3,100 on DK. Lamarcus Aldridge, I guess he's in it, right? We had noted and openly talked about how he was he started the second half against that Cleveland Cavaliers in a game that Blake Griffin started, and it feels like just ever since Blake Griffin has been a complete non-factor. DNPing after DNP, Paul Millsap back, and if you believe Nick Claxton, he's back and available today. So will LaMarcus Aldridge continue to start? Will that eat into his minutes? I feel like naturally you would assume so. And what the heck is Blake Griffin doing on this team going forward? Is he going to be traded? I saw a quote saying that he did speak about not being part of the rotation and having to deal with that. But I don't know. Aldridge, I guess if you told me that Nick Claxton wasn't playing, I could get to Aldridge with somewhat confidence, because I definitely don't mind centers against the T-Wolves. But I wonder if Claxton gets thrown back into the fire as a starter. Do they trust what they got? So as a precaution, I put just 10 minutes on Claxton, 28 minutes still on Aldridge, and I got 30 plus fantasy points as the projection. And I do, like I said, I do like playing centers against the T-Wolves, so I want to play Aldridge. I just have a lot of swirling question marks around the situation, the minute projection, and what the Nets are really doing. Steve Nash has got a bag of tricks here, so I don't know. Do you guys still get to Aldridge with the Claxton news? Is it one of those things where we play Aldridge as long as he's listed as the starter, but if Claxton was listed as the starter, we just stay away? I think that's kind of the route I would take. But I do like Aldridge, the thought of Aldridge in this matchup if I can get to 30 minutes. But Harden, Durant for sure. Harden potentially tier 1 on FanDuel, and then spin the wheel, make a deal on the T-Wolves big three, and I wouldn't push back at you. Let's get caught up on chat. Izzo said Edwards going low on tonight on FanDuel. Is he? I could see that. I definitely think like one of D. Russ or Edwards can pop in the spot. I like playing guards against the Nets, especially a guy like Edwards. Going up against Harden, that'll get him going. Here, what up, Tall? Any love for LeBron tonight? Yeah, we'll talk about that game coming up, but I definitely could see some primetime snub narrative for LeBron and him showing up and showing out. Vanderbilt 30 plus minutes. I think it's possible. I put him at 33. I guess 25 to 28 is a little bit more reasonable. But I think if we worry about Cat, and we still get guys like McDaniels down, and then Naz Reid hasn't been 100%. We've seen him get to 30 plus in 2 straight games now. So I don't think that's a overly aggressive minute projection. Maybe 30 is a little bit more fair than 33. Remember going high owned on Fake Duel, is he? I haven't got a pulse on ownership projections yet, But that's interesting. Obviously, a guy like Bembry, as volatile as they are, the low usage guys that are pretty much peripheral dependent. Like if they get high owned, I'll probably try and push back. But I don't know what what the context of high owned is in your statement. Nets front court is a mess staying away. That's fair. Griffin doing his Duncan Robinson impersonation. I mean, he's just not playing. He's just literally not getting. He's not in the rotation. I like LeBron on DK. Yep. How's it going, brother? What up, brother Bernard? What's the best showdown today in top 3? You guys got to help me out with what the showdown options are. And top 3. Let me answer that in a little bit. I don't really have a true pulse. Let's move on to the next game though. Rockets hosting Orlando Magic. Project starting 5 for the Magic: Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba. He's got hoes calling, chat. Checking on the Rockets. Who knows who's starting for the Rockets today? But it could be. You all right? It could be. Did y'all hear that? Kevin Porter Jr., Garrison Matthews, Eric Gordon, Jayshawn Tate, and Christian Wood. 217.5 total. 2.5 points spread. Did you fall? Are you all right? Are you lying? 2.5 points spread for the home team, Houston Rockets. So it's questionable as KPJ and Wood. I think Wood was closer to in than out. The fact that they're still favorites against the Orlando Magic kind of says something about the Orlando Magic. Let me get the official blurbs for the Rockets here before we over-assume. You know what happens when we assume. KPJ. Left thigh contusion. Questionable. Says he's been struggling with a thigh issue for a little while now, with the point guard aggravating the injury during Wednesday night's win over the Thunder. If he's unable to play, Jayshawn Tate or Marty Brooks will be popular. DJ Augustine, COVID protocols, is going to be back in action tonight. So if KPJ can't go, maybe a boost for a guy like Augustine. He's min price on DK. Have played him I've played him when he was on the Magic several times in the past. And then Christian Wood, right ankle sprain. He declared himself, quote, ready to go against the Magic on Friday. So, looks like we should put a P tag on Wood and keep that Q tag on Porter. If they can play, obviously we still got some interest in KPJ under 7K on Fanduel, small forward eligible. Christian Wood, 8,600, 40 plus fantasy points, not outside the realm of possibility for him. You're going to need some size here against this Magic front court. And the Magic front court is a decent spot for fantasy points. Really, every spot against the Magic has been a good spot for fantasy. They are a bad defense, bad offense, a little bit of both. So I think those plays just kind of shake out and right themselves based on their availability. If we start getting news that KPJ can't play, I can understand. Like I said, some love for DJ Augustine. Silas seems to be more inclined to get minutes to his young guys. We've seen him push Daniel Tice away. So I wouldn't be stunned if Augustine didn't get like a giant chunk of minutes, 30 plus whatever, or Marty Brooks would probably be somebody that he'd like to see. I guess we can look at how he treated the ball handling duties in that last game against the Thunder. Although the Thunder, I don't know, it's the Magic. OKC, Houston. See Doe for the ball out of bounds. Yep, my roommate and I were dying at your Mo Bamba bit. Oh man, dude, if I have whenever I do shows with Chronic, man, I get a little bit more animated just because I feed off the energy. I feel like I'm boring by myself lately. So looking at that KPJ game, when he got injured, looks like we saw a decent run of minutes for Marty Brooks there. I can't remember, DJ Augustine wasn't available. So I wonder if that would be something Silas leans on a little bit more too here is a Marty Brooks. So I don't know. I really don't know what he would do. I guess he's been pretty real in his pregame interviews. So maybe if he did show his hand, if KPJ was out, I'd probably lean closer to believing him. If KPJ was out, Eric Gordon could also be a veteran that gets a little bit more ball handling responsibility. 5K, I'm looking for 30 fantasy points. I think it's viable, but for the most part, I'd just be looking at Christian Wood and maybe some Jayshawn Tate. Tate, I do think benefited last game from Christian Wood's injury more so than KPJ's injury, right? 10 rebounds, but I guess he did do a decent chunk of ball handling, 5+ assists in 3 straight games. So 6K, yeah, there's probably some meat on the bone for him. Don't mind that. Probably not expecting 30+ real points, but he doesn't need that, right? 70 fantasy points, you could literally get half, right? That old adage, get me half of what you did last game, young blood, and I'm in on it. So I think the DK price for Tate still leaves some meat on the bone. 7,500 on FanDuel, yeah, you could see 40+, but that 6K just feels better. So Tate's still in the mix for me. Just could have some moving variables to make him better or worse of a play based on the availability of KPJ. So Rockets are the Rockets. Let's talk about the Magic for a little bit, because I think that this game is stackable, and I think there's a lane to 3 Magic in a lineup and not feeling like it's the end of the world. Cole Anthony is one of those guys. I think without Jalen Suggs in the mix, the minute floor for Cole Anthony is even higher, and I've kind of sung his praises that the last couple of slates. Like, I think people forget Cole Anthony has a ceiling that can win you tournaments. 61 against Minnesota, 50, right? He's got a couple 60 bombs this season. So I think you consider the matchup. The Houston Rockets has been a porous defense and a bad enough offense that the Magic, a lot of their games have a 2 true ranges of outcomes, right? Getting smoked or staying competitive. And I think this game is more likely to stay competitive than most of the Magic games. So if it stays competitive, I like deep minutes for Cole Anthony. And I think, I got 36 minutes on of him. It's spat back 45 to 48 DKP to FTP. I think 50+ fantasy points isn't an outlandish range of outcome here. So I will have some Cole Anthony exposure tonight. And then past him, Wendell Carter, still way too cheap on both sides, 6,500. Projection, knocking on the door 40. I'll take that all day long, all day strong. And Mo Bamba absolutely in the mix here. The Rockets, they're young, they're small, they run a decent pace here. It's going to be a pace-up spot for the Magic, extra implied possessions, and one of the strengths of Mo Bamba is going out there and throwing a block party. Houston allowing the 3rd most blocks per game in the league. So Mo Bamba absolutely could give you some extra utility as a fantasy play, accruing block fantasy points. He's averaging over 2 blocks per game right now, and this is an uptick spot for that. So I think the Magic players are once again all in play for me. At least Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter, and Bamba. And I mentioned Franz Wagner when comping him to like Laurie Markkinen, right? People just don't play Wagner like that, but he gives you a chip in a chair puncher's chance at 30 fantasy points every time he touches the court. And that's just good stocking stuff for territory to be in, and I don't think that changes here against the Rockets, and the minutes are there regardless. So I like quite a bit of Magic here. I probably have to throttle it to not have more than 3 Magic in a lineup, because I think the projection could be sneaky sometimes to give me 4, but there's not a lot of pushback on this Magic team, and hopefully we know for sure who will be in and who will be out for the Rockets, and I could sink my teeth into some potential game stacks, because I'm with it. Let me get caught up on chat here. Poor Danny. Fell getting out there. God dang, girl. He asked if I was lying because I lie a lot when I fall. Yeah, it is. Roto update day to day. Oh no, I thought that was a real update. I thought it was a real update. Love Cole with no songs. I'm with that, Lorenzo. Let's go. 5 minutes before tip-off, Daniel has been rolled out due to knee soreness. My goodness. Y'all are wild. How many Magic players is too much in a tournament? Been snapping. I'll probably set a roll, a hard max of 3. I wouldn't want to get 3 an exorbitant amount, but I would allow some lineups get to 3. I think a game stack is viable as well, depending on who ends up being active, because It's not like a tall price point, at least on the FanDuel side. And I love that Christian Wood's still power forward eligible. DK at 93, I need that 50 plus. But if he doesn't get hurt against the Thunder, who knows what could have happened? Not like he was on pace in the few minutes he did play, but he just had back-to-back massive games. So I think 50 plus fantasy points is definitely within the realm of possibility, especially against one of the league's worst defenses. What? I'm Ron Burgundy. I'm Miles Garrett. The Orlando Magic have the fourth worst defensive efficiency in basketball. So yeah, there's definitely room for upside on Christian Wood. Bamba Anthony Carter's a lock for sure. I like that, Willie. You gonna play that many Magic? I am. I don't think I know it seems to happen. It feels like once a week where the Magic all profile as good plays, but here we are again, right? No Jalen Suggs. I think I think I'm right back in the well for the Magic to look good based on minute projections, based on price, based on their per minute production. I mean, Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba are both averaging over 9 rebounds a game playing alongside of each other, right? And then the prices are just too cheap. And we've seen Wendell Carter just be so obvious slate to slate. So I think he should be 7.5K. A lot of times the reason the Magics don't get there is because they're getting smoked. I don't think this game profiles as a blowout. So give me 40 plus potential fantasy points from a guy like Wendell Carter, who probably should be in the 7Ks, and he's only 65. I'll take it. Where we at? We are at 129 concurrent viewers, man. You guys want to do me a solid? Two things real quick. We'll get back into it. One, hit that thumbs up. If we get to 100 plus, I'll give away a week pass at rundfs.com. And two, just look below. See if the subscribe button is red. If it is, click on it and get subscribed to the channel. We started the stream at 5663 subs. Trying to get to 6K subs by January 1. If we do that, I'll be a happy man because we grinded. And it's not a thing I can do. It's the community putting in some work to make that happen. And the way to make that happen, if you really want to support some of your favorite YouTubers, it's free. You just engage with the video. So the more video engagements, whether it be clicks, shares, thumbs ups, comments, obviously you can't leave a comment here, chat engagement. It costs you nothing to do that. So if you want to show me some love, do that. And hopefully we'll get to 6K subs. And I would say that if this channel gets to 6K subs by January 1, it wouldn't be a me accomplishment. It would be an us accomplishment, and I mean that. Next game on the docket, Pelicans at the Dallas Mavericks. Project starting 5 for the Pelicans. Devontae Graham, friend of the channel. Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, Herbert Jones, and Jonas Valanciunas taking on Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell. I do think there's some versatility in what that projected starting lineup can look like. We could see Maxi Kleber reintroduced in his starting lineup. We could see Dwight Powell move down for Moses Brown, stuff like that. But I think the constants are the constants. 216.5 is our total here. 6.5 point spread in favor of the home team Dallas Mavericks. The plays that stick out like a sore thumb: Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson. First and foremost, Jalen Brunson, way too cheap. 5K on FanDuel, 4,900 on DraftKings. Had a couple opportunities earlier this season without Porzingis to kind of caddy for Luka here, and I think a lot of cases we'll see Brunson play point guard and Luka play off the ball. I just think it's too cheap. I think Jalen Brunson has real shot at 40 plus fantasy points, and even at this price, a modest shot at 30 fantasy points, which is what the projections spat back in a plus matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans. So Jalen Brunson, easily a tier 1 core value play for me, depending on the site, and may trend to be my highest owned player. That's all I got to say about that. And Luka Doncic, I guess, is the question mark, chat. I said James Harden's kind of cheap, low 10Ks. Well, so is Luka Doncic. Do we get the easy 60 plus fantasy points from Luka again? Is it too good to pass up? From a FanDuel perspective, I definitely think it's going to be an easy to obtain price point to get to. Almost 12K on DK, though. You got to do a little bit stronger meditation on it. There's a lot of studs on this slate. Is Luka going to be the highest raw point scorer? I have him projected as such in my early projections, 56 DKP. But it's okay to be skeptical about it. So I think on DraftKings, you think a little bit harder, a little bit stronger about it. But I think on FanDuel, I don't think it's going to be that hard to even get to him and James Harden in the lineup. So you might see me in the streets with a little bit of the double big guard lineups because of the dual position eligibility. Let's put some numbers on usage rates, right? We got some time, so let's go use that NBA Wowie tool, add more funds, exclamation point, AMF in the chat. Let's click Dallas. And then let's, I guess this season's good enough. Let's take off Porzingis. And let's put on Luka and Brunson. I would guess there's also a world where Brunson could still come off the bench. I don't think he will. I think the best shot at getting a lead, building a lead is with Brunson and Luka here. But I guess there's still a world where Tim Hardaway Jr. and Reggie Bullock, Maxi Kleber, Powell fill out the starting lineup, and they just kind of stagger Brunson and Luka. So just something to think about. But 41% usage rate this season of Brunson, Luka on the court, Porzingis off with almost 200 minutes of sample size, 1.75 DKP points per minute. So Brunson 0.8, not as high as I thought he would be, but I still, I don't know, the eye test is still a plus for me. So I'm in on Brunson. But Luka has every right to be one of the higher projected players on this entire slate. So give me some Luka for sure. Yeah. Where are you guys ranking Luka? Is Luka going to be your most sought after stud today? I think it's fair if he is. Update Gun marries his dog. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. On FanDuel, would you rather have Bamba or Carter Jr. if you're only playing one? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know, man. I feel like that's closer to a coin flip. I guess the way I would answer that is looking at my projection. Wendell Carter is $700 cheaper with a higher projection. So Wendell Carter. Simple enough. Patrick Reed said, could you give 2 studs to start my lineups with if only playing 2 lineups? 2 studs? Luka. Probably James Harden. If it's on FanDuel at least. I don't know. I don't know how to get to 2 studs on DraftKings with high comfort. I only trust J. Cole, Anthony. Let's go. J. Cole, Jermaine, Cole, Mr. Nice Watch, Young Simba. I got a stem cell shot today trying to make my knee. Okay, buddy. Damron says, real talk, if y'all have a wedding and I don't get invited, bro, I will make an anti-gun social media war pack. Ooh, if we have a wedding. I mean, we will have a wedding one day. We'll see. It's scary times out there, bro. There's new strains of COVID. Didn't you watch South Park? We're going to get married at a VFW Max or VFW Plus Max. I don't know. I'll bring the Bush Light, this guy. Tier 1 for Luka. Yup. I love DFS. I love money. Yeah. How about any Pelicans here? So the Mavericks have bled fantasy points to opposing centers. Jonas Valanciunas is 8,200 on FanDuel, 9,400 on DK. So again, FanDuel seems like they let you make lineups that you like, and DK is going to make you pinch pennies to get access to some of the guys that you think are stronger than others. So I think the FanDuel price point on J-Val being 1,200 point difference, I'm in on that. I don't know how aggressive I would be with J-Val on DK. I guess I wouldn't have none, but if you got 30 plus minutes of J-Val, 40 plus fantasy points, it's probably the more median expectation with Ingram in, with Devontae in. So I guess J-Val could end up being a FanDuel only play for me. And then Ingram's under AK on both sides. I haven't really got to him with a high level of confidence. I don't hate $4,700 Devontae Graham, a couple shots in the dark on that. And then Josh Hart, peripheral getter, stat stuffer, 5K-ish on both sides. Can I get to 30 fantasy points? Think so. Embiid and Luka then value. Embiid is I don't like, so don't get me wrong, I don't hate Embiid, but I don't feel like his floor is as strong as maybe it once was. I am encouraged by the minutes lately. I guess if Tobias Harris was out, I would co-sign that. But if Toby was in, then I don't know. I guess if Tobias Harris was out, I would like to run Embiid at Trae Young in lineups because both guys would be playing with uptick in usage, potential uptick in minutes, and they would have to pick up a lot of responsibility. So, but as of now, like if Toby was in, I don't think Embiid would be like a core stud for me just because of the volatility in his floor day to day. Luka or Durant, Darius for me, it's gonna be Luka. If it's a straight up 1v1, I think Luka's opportunity for usage is just incredible, right? 1.75 DKP points per minute. And let's put a little bit more sample size on this because we can. We'll go to last season without Porzingis with Luka on. I don't think 1.7 is sustainable, but 1.3 to 1.4 probably is. He's at 1.57 since the beginning of last year, 730 plus minutes. Him and Brunson on, Porzingis off. So, and then I guess maybe if we took Brunson off, it would go up even higher potentially. Luka on, Porzingis off. Bless you. 1.53. So yeah, the per minute just seems a little too strong to pass up. As he goes, so do the Dallas Mavericks here. Not to say that Durant isn't a fine play, but I think if I had to split hairs here, it would be Luka. But I guess it's easy to say that if you're a true tournament player and you think there's a path to failure for him, or if you think the projection's close enough between KD and Luka, and I got KD at 50, Luka at 56, so a 6-point margin of difference. If you think 6 points for the ownership gap is worth the pivot, I don't hate the thought process behind that, right? Even though in a 1v1 I would lean Luka myself, I would imagine Luka could push 4 times the ownership of a KD, at least maybe 3 times. So I guess if you're just trying to be significantly different in tournaments and you just want to fade chalk and still have a viable pivot that could replicate his fantasy scoring, I guess it's fair to think about a guy like KD or Harden, but that's just assuming that Luka is the highest owned stud. I haven't looked yet, but I would assume that's the case, right? What up, Kickstart? Tell me you didn't put Trae on the cover today. Dang it, Gun. I know it's like a meme from 2 years ago about the thumbnail curse, but the thumbnail guys have been smacking. Just crushing it. Porzingis is out. Yeah, Porzingis is out. Who's your favorite large tournament player to build around tonight? Probably Trae Young. And so like in large field tournaments, I'm looking for upside versus ownership. And I think Luka could push 30+% ownership. So who could replicate his ceiling at half to a quarter of his ownership? I have Trae Young knocking on the door of the top 5, right? 49 fantasy points, right behind Steph. I probably don't get to Steph today against the Suns, and I guess there's a world where Steph at home on TV shows up and shows out against the Bookerless Suns here, but you gotta show me. And his last couple games against the Suns, man, they have been trapping him and forcing them to use Wiggins or Jordan Poole. So I would easily go Trae Young over Steph. Maybe Paul George against the Lakers defense is an option as well. But I think Trae Young is a curious click based on all those guys being out. Hunter, Bogdan, Reddish. What up, Justin Sports? Doing all right. Embiid going for 80. I'm with that. Like I said, Trae Young versus Embiid in the lineup is a pretty fun correlated start to a lineup. AFC Angelo. Who do you like more for late swap value, Dwight Howard or Ibaka? Probably Dwight Howard. I haven't absorbed the Clippers ins and outs yet, but I don't think Ibaka is somebody I could trust for deep minutes. If we have Marcus Morris, Zubac, all those guys in, I don't know, probably Dwight Howard. If you told me Ibaka and Howard get the same amount of minutes, I'd probably go Dwight Howard here. But we're splitting hairs. I don't even know that I would be down there regardless, right? Where are we at here? We got a couple games left. So we got 3 games left. Let's take a pause for the cause and talk about Um, Talk about PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com chat. If you're not on PrizePicks yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. If you've just been like tuning out when the shows that you consume talk about PrizePicks, man, I think you might be missing out on a fun way to play DFS, especially the bigger slates like this, where news 10 minutes before a lock can really shake up everything and ruin hours of research. You really don't get that impacted on price picks, and it's a really really fun way to play DFS. It's essentially DFS meets prop betting meets a little bit of parlay lifestyle. Essentially they give you a board of player props, whether it be real points, assist, rebounds, all that good stuff. It looks a little something like this, and then my favorite way to bet is fantasy scores. They give you all these projections that they have, and you just see if you agree with the projection, and if you don't, you click over or you click under, and then you only need at least 2 picks on a card to send it into action. You can have up to 5. You can 10x your money, $100 into $1,000, stuff like that. It's a really really fun way to play. And it's a great way to diversify your daily DFS spend as is, and it's also just a great way to neutralize your time, be more efficient with your time, and reward the research you're already doing. So what are some of the things that we talked about so far? We talked about the blocks potential for Mo Bamba, and how we do like them, or how I do like the Magic. So maybe we'll go check out some of these Magic lines and see if we can find some opportunity for overs on the Magic. So looking at the Magic, wow, they got Luka at 53, J-Val at 40. That's nuts. Control F Bomba. They don't have any Magic up? Or they don't have Bomba? Looks like they don't have the Magic game up yet. I feel like it will be, but right now it's not. Well, that's a shame, because I definitely wanted to wedge into some Magic exposure. What else do we like today? Let's go to the single stats here. Essentially, you just find a couple of lines that you like, whether you have done some research. Like we said, we know that Bamba could have more blocks today, so probably a little bit more beef on his fantasy score. And usually my favorite way to attack price picks is to go to the fantasy score and just compare theirs to mine. I do have a companion tab in the rundfs.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. It's called the player props tab. I'll sort by PP fantasy points and just kind of look for the biggest discrepancies, 5, 6 to 8 points. It does exist. I've got a lot of the big guys I see at similar numbers as them. I am a lot more bullish on Luka. Looks like there's a 7-point split in my Luka projection to theirs. I will say the one thing they need to do is make their site easier to navigate. They got 53, so I got a 7-point split between my Luka projection to theirs. They have Kevin Huerter at 23, and without Reddish, without Bogdanovich, without Hunter, Huerter could play 38 minutes, so he doesn't even have to be a point per minute. I put him at 29 fantasy points for PP scoring. So yeah, I'd probably be looking at a guy like Kevin Huerter over fantasy points. Brunson's about on the nose. Steph Curry 51. I might be inclined to get to the under on Steph Curry there. The defensive scheme for the Phoenix Suns has been really successful against Steph Curry. So Steph Curry FTP by game log versus Suns last 10 games. They tend to trap him. And Steph Curry's last 4 games against the Suns, he hasn't even eclipsed 34 fantasy points. And he has not eclipsed 51 in his last 9, and that's going back to pre-Chris Paul days. So Steph Curry under 51 fantasy points might be something I'm compelled to get behind, unless we get okey doked with some Suns news. So that's what I got on PrizePicks, man. Did you guys hunt out some PrizePicks plays yet? Let me know. Let the chat know. And then, of course, if you want to try it out, PrizePicks code GUNDACKER. Link is the link. Did the link pop up in chat? PrizePicks. If you sign up using my code, they'll double your first deposit up to $100. So if you sign up, you throw a $20 bill at them, you'll instantly have $40 of money to play on the site. No slow drip. You don't have to play through it. Nothing like that. It's there waiting for you, and you can get it going. Let's get caught up on chat before we move on. Late to the party. Nope. I told you that Embiid went 3 for 17 the other night and 6 for 6 from the foul line. How many fantasy points do you guess he scores? Need to be on the stream if you want to see special. No. Ed is on one, bro. What the heck? Where are we at on likes? We're at 63. So wow, we are struggling for likes today. If we get to 100, we give away a week pass. Let's get back into the action here and move our sights and our focus to Utah. The two Utes. Celtics at the Jazz. Project starting five for the Celtics. Dennis Schroeder, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Al Horford. Robert Williams, the Time Lord, taking on Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, Royce O'Neal, and Rudy Gobert. We got 210 total. Jazz favored by 8. At the Utah Jazz, probably the toughest matchup in all of basketball. They're just really, really good at home. A little bit of altitude that doesn't get as much notoriety as the Denver games do. So, not my favorite spot for the Celtics. However, with Jalen Brown down for this game, you do want to at least do your due diligence here and shop the Celtics and decide on if you want to get there or not. I think the names that kind of stick out without Jalen Brown, potentially Dennis Schroeder, sub 6K on FanDuel. Can I get to 30 plus fantasy points? Well, the soft projection did get me 30 plus, so I might be there on that. And then Jason Tatum, 9,500 on FanDuel, 10.1K on DK. I got massive minutes for him. We know his usage will spike immensely without Jalen Brown, but his efficiency isn't all that great, especially shooting wise. And you feel like at 10.1K on DraftKings, at least I do. I think I put that 10K into a Luka, into a Harden, into one of the other studs of the slate, maybe coming up, LeBron, Paul George, somebody like that. And if Tatum beats me because he dropped 70 in Utah, then it just happens, right? I guess if you're really, really contrarian, like, you can justify it, but I just think it's a tough matchup. It's a tough spot to be in. It's a guy that's going to be a little bit volatile anyway. So I'm not really there on any of the Celtics here. If an errant Schroeder fell here and there, I wouldn't hate it. We did see somebody mention Josh Richardson in the chat earlier, 3,800. I don't hate the call there or the price point. No warm and fuzzies on that click, but we haven't really talked about a bunch of 3 to 4K guys that could fill a role here, and I guess Josh Richardson could be that dude, especially if Schroeder did start. Maybe Jay Rich would be primary ball handler for the second unit. But for the most part, I'm not running to lock any of these Celtics into the player pool, and I might get to Schroeder in like a tier 3 levels of exposure. And maybe on FanDuel, Al Horford has some room at 6,300. You know what I mean? 6,300, couple blocks. Could I get to 30 plus? I think it's possible. But again, not a high level of confidence. So don't mind it, but don't love it. On the Jazz side, Donovan Mitchell, sub 9K on DK. I'm looking for 40 plus. Really 50 plus the closer I get to 9K. Again, I wouldn't hate that if he fell in the pool, but I'm not running to lock it in. Same with Mike Conley. I just feel like this game could be one of those games I just don't get to with any level of confidence or exposure. Should be a slow-paced game. Both teams 97 pace rating. So if we go put that in context here on the entire slate, bottom 10 pace game coming at us. So really not a lot to like with a meager to low total, right? And that is the price fix train. Yep. William McGuire says Cameron Payne or Josh Richardson. I'm probably leaning Payne, but I'm not like in love with it. But I'm probably leaning Payne here. Armani Brooks looks appealing. I definitely like Armani if KPJ gets rolled out. Did that happen while I was blabbering? It's possible. Bamba or Gafford on FanDuel. Probably Bamba just because I feel a little bit safer in Bamba's minutes. I think Gafford has shown an ability to have upside, but I don't know that his minutes are as safe pre-flop as Bamba if Bamba's in a competitive game and not in foul trouble. Did you see our boy Sandro got some run last night with Giannis out? I did see that. I actually thought about the chat when that happened. I didn't play him, but I did see that. Rather have Gobert. How many minutes is Brooks getting tonight? So Armani Brooks for me would be contingent on Kevin Porter Jr. being available or not available. Like I probably don't play him at all if KPJ is in. He ended up with 29 minutes last game when KPJ played 13, and he closed out the entire fourth quarter. So I definitely think that's an and DJ Augustine was out, and DJ Augustine's back. So for Armani Brooks to be on my radar tonight, I would have to have KPJ out. Rudy Knight 20 rebounds, I can get behind that. What up, Arizona Drama? Who's your favorite play on this entire slate for the best spend up value? I mean, if be a little bit of a chalk donkey here. Luka Doncic, no KP or no KP, and it's the Pelicans, so it's probably Luka to spend up. But I do like Harden and I do like Trae Young. But Luka just feels like the highest floor, and my personal projections like him the most. The pushback would be the ownership on a big slate. I say that I don't know Chad. Somebody out there has seen ownership, right? Like Luka's not a secret, right? He's got to be the highest projected owned stud, right? What up, Obi-Wan? Doing all right, brother? Robert Williams or Harrell in my last spot. How did you get there? I mean, Harrell, right? I don't want to... at Rudy, at home, that's probably not the spot I want to be in. Harrell, yeah. Harrell, but I feel like you shouldn't be in that spot that you're in. Did you already play Deadman? Deadman's around that price point. I know he'll probably be higher owned, but at least his minutes will be baked in as a starter with no Adebayo, right? Just hit that like button. I appreciate that. Fun fact, Marnie Brooks is the nephew of the guy who made the J. Cole skit, Jermaine Cole. Really? That dude lives in Waco. I didn't think he was that old. What's his name? RDC World, RC World, something like that. Is that what we're talking about? Let's move on to the next game. Phoenix Suns at the Golden State Warriors. Project starting five for the Suns. Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton taking on Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney. So it's a repeat of a game that happened 2 games back for the Suns. The Suns are on night 2 of a back-to-back, and they're without Devin Booker. Warriors looking for revenge. Steph Curry, we talked about his recent struggles against the Suns. They trap him, they scheme him well, and they make you beat them with a secondary shooter. Last game, the guy that thrived in that scenario was Jordan Poole. Of course, Andrew Wiggins had an illness that day, so maybe he wasn't 100%. We have seen Wiggins have a solid game against the Suns in the past while they were trapping Steph Curry. But Jordan Poole picked up some slack, 28 real points. So maybe we kind of expect more of the same here. 10 plus 3-point attempts in his last 2 games. So I don't mind looking his way if you subscribe to the theory that Steph Curry could be in trouble. And then also maybe use that as a player group or a player correlation. If you're going to have some Steph Curry exposure, maybe also hedge with a little bit of Jordan Poole. And just maybe a little smidge of Andrew Wiggins in that last game. 20 fantasy points, 10 real points, but double-digit shot attempts. For me, it's probably going to be a little bit more of the Jordan Poole side of things. This game, fun fact about the last 2 games here. You guys see this, chat? It was the ESPN game, and they flexed out of the Lakers game to get to the Warriors-Suns game. So maybe a little snub narrative for the Lakers, but maybe Steph Curry a little chance to make up for the other night and show up and show out. Suns are 7-point dogs. I don't think we've seen that. We may not see it again for the rest of the year, depending on their health. Haven't seen anything about Chris Paul not playing, but it's always a back of my mind concern on night 2 of a back-to-back. Boy, you talk about scorched earth. Could you imagine ESPN flexes it and the Suns sit CP3 and they have like no CP3 and no Booker? That would be hilarious, actually. But matchup-wise, if this game stays competitive, I expect Chris Paul to have to put in some work here. Under 9K on Fanduel, 8,400 on DK. The projection gives me 40+. That's about where I'm happy to be at. And DeAndre Ayton, again, I need 40+ fantasy points. My projection gets to right about 40 fantasy points on Fanduel. just like the other night, two really, really good defenses, strong offenses as well. So it's okay to not expect a massive shootout, and to be a little bit responsible with our ownerships here, especially with the Suns' value. Landry Shamet, about 4K on both sides. On this slate, I probably need to be knocking on the door of 30 fantasy points from a value place to get me into that top 1% of the field, right? So if you think Landry Shamet could drop 20 more than he drops 30, and I think that's not an unrealistic expectation against the defense of the Warriors, then maybe let the field have that one. You know what I'm saying? 31 minutes last night, Detroit, a softer matchup than the Warriors, just 20 fantasy points. And this has been Landry Shamet basketball. We saw this in LA as well. There's going to be games where he hits the shots, double-digit shot attempts last night. But if the projection, or if you think the result could be 20 more than 30, I think 20 doesn't really get you far in tournaments. So that's how I would think about that. Cameron Johnson, Cameron Payne, two guys I like a little bit more per minute. Cameron Johnson was my favorite yesterday. I think Cameron Payne ended up being the best of the three per dollar. But yeah, if I had to rank them again, I'd probably go back to what I did yesterday. Cam Johnson 1, Payne, then Shamet based on per minute production. Cameron Payne, 31 fantasy points yesterday, 19 real points, extremely efficient, 8 for 14. That's a lot. And then Cameron Johnson is somebody as well to keep in the mix. 33 fantasy points yesterday, 19 real points. So I think for me, it's going to be Cam Johnson 1, Cameron Payne 2, and then Landry Shamet if I'm ranking some Suns value. And then, of course, Chris Paul and Ayton will have to have strong games, you feel like, if they are going to compete in this one. And on the Warriors side, what are you guys thinking of Steph Curry? Are we full fading it as a group? You guys feel like you get to some? How many lineups do you got to run to get to some? Even if Steph Curry had an above average game for his sake against the Suns and got to the 50 projection that the projection likes him at, could I still not win with Harden at the same area, with Luka at the same area? Steph Curry has to do a lot here to be the best play on the slate and be the guy that is winning this price range at the guard area. So I think I'm just gonna be all the way out on Curry. And like I said, I'm really privy to that price picks under 50, especially considering his recent history against the Suns. I mean, they've been guarding him about as well as anyone. They've got a really strong blueprint to do so. So give me Jordan Poole here. Give me some of the Suns value and a little bit of Paul Ayton. Not getting too crazy with it. Ben Snap, and what games are you staying away from, Gun? I think if I had to nominate one game right now to just not have any of, it would probably be the Celtics and the Jazz. And then I could see myself not having a ton of the Suns Warriors game, even though it'll be a fun real game to watch, Tobias Harris just got rolled out. Appreciate that, Quan. That's big news, man. So that, for me, that'll be obviously a boost for Joel Embiid, and it really makes that Embiid versus Trae Young lineup a little bit more fun, Want to fade because of circumstances, but last time I nearly faded, he hit 80 plus. For who? 80 plus Fanduel points. You talking about Luka? Okay, Luka. I see what you're saying, Luka. Yeah. Tobias Harris out. Otto Porter night with that. Otto Porter, I don't really see why he would get extra minutes in this split unless Wiggins or somebody was out. I guess I know Iggy's out, but I don't know. I got 20 minutes. I don't really see a reason to get too crazy. All right, one game left on the docket. Let's take a pause for the cause. After the party, it's the after party, and after the party, it's the Discord lobby. I'll be in the RunDFS.com NBA voice chat after the stream up until lock. If you guys want to be part of that, look at that up to the minute news from Underdog there. They also tweeted about nothing surprising on the Suns injury report. I guess that's a tongue-in-cheek reference to CP3 sitting on a back-to-back. So he's not listed, but yes, Tobias Harris just got ruled out, and the Bulls' Javonte Green has entered health and safety protocols. But anyway, after this, I'll be in the Discord NBA chat right here, where the boy, the homie, NHS is already chilling. I think he's been there all night, camping out like it's Black Friday. You guys are more than welcome to come join that. Hey, Doronzo, if you're out there, I'll get you hooked up. I haven't forgot about you. But if we do that giveaway today at 100 likes, right at 74, we may not have to do a giveaway today. But at 100 likes, I'll do a week pass giveaway. You guys can hang out with us a little bit more and then open up the spreadsheet. And in the spreadsheet, on top of the projections and the easy to navigate index portal, I'll also have my personal player pool for both sites. You don't have to copy it, but you don't have to tail it. You can compare yours to mine. Just kind of know where I'm at if you care. But otherwise, even if you don't look at my player pool, there's plenty of references to help you expedite your research process between this index portal, projections, the DVP charts, and the team metrics tab. So a lot of value there, and the community. It's a great community, right? Last game on the docket. Look at the tweet that was just posted from Underdog. Going back to Luka and Embiid, just like the other day. Hopefully Pelicans keep it close this time since they got smashed. Yeah, I like that. I'll probably run another Embiid query without Toby. But Clippers at the Lakers main event tonight. Clippers on the road today, traveling all the way to the soon-to-be Crypto Center, facing the Lakers at home. Project starting five for the Clippers: Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Paul George, Serge Ibaka, and Ivica Zubac, taking on the Russell Westbrook. What the heck was that? I guess Wayne Ellington or Taylor Horton Tucker. We'll see. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard. 218.5 star total, 2-point spread in favor of the home team, LA Lakers. Paul George rested in the Clippers' most previous game. So this is a unique spot for the Lakers just to be 2-point favorites here. LeBron James is probable. I think AD got upgraded to probable. That news did drop after I hit, but I didn't think that was news. You know what I mean? So I'm going to see if the line has moved at all for the Lakers to be more than 2-point favorites. 3 points in some spots. Opened at 215. Clippers favored by 2. So LeBron represented 4 points on the swing there with the 3 points to the game total. What do we do with this game? I think with the Lakers, I'll do what I usually do with the big three usage guys. Is I'll set a rule where I never get more than one of the big Lakers into a DraftKings MME line. And on Fanduel, probably the same. Maybe I can squeeze it to 2. Obviously, we've talked about Fanduel pricing being a little bit softer, and it really makes you stand out. Guys like Luka, James Harden, Kevin Durant, guys like that. But I think this is a fun matchup for a couple of these guys. And like I said, LeBron James, I don't know I guess he had a false COVID positive, and that put him on the list for a couple days, and now he's back. And then, like I said, a little bit of a snub narrative for them to flex out of this game to the Suns game. So at 10K, I can see LeBron James serving a role on FanDuel. None of the big three have a massive projection for me, so in no way am I trying to talk into prioritizing any of these guys. But from a exposure level standpoint and mass entry, I get there. And then Dwight Howard, he's 52 on FanDuel, but just 36 on DK. He is the new starting center for the Lakers, and per minute, he's definitely more efficient, more productive than DeAndre Jordan. So I don't hate him in this spot. And going against the Clippers team that we've seen bigs thrive against. Maybe the bigs that shoot threes thrive a little bit better. But I still don't hate this matchup from a points in the paint standpoint. If we sort points in the paint allowed from most to least, Lakers allow the second most, but the Clippers are still in top 10 areas. So you might see Dwight Howard with a couple dunks to beef up maybe some of his peripherals. I only put 18 minutes on him. Not expecting the world here, but maybe he surprises us here and they start pushing away DeAndre Jordan even more. But yeah, I think we know how to approach the Lakers, right? They all have the potential to cannibalize each other's ceiling. But they should be in play. The Clippers, though, Paul George, 10.3 on DK, 9,200 on FanDuel. He has 50-plus fantasy point potential everywhere he goes. He's the freshest legs on the court for the Clippers, and the Lakers defense has certainly left a lot to be desired. And Paul George could get lost in the sauce in terms of ownership, right? Could he drop one of those 60 plus fantasy point games as the battle of Los Angeles ensues tonight? I think it's a possible range of outcome. Tier 3 at best for me right now, but essentially what I'm trying to drive home is I'm not going to have no exposure to Paul George. And then Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, all these guys are supplementary plays. They'll probably make the player pool, but no high level of confidence or exposure to them. I think Reggie under 6K on FanDuel at least has 30 plus fantasy point potential going against the Lakers guard defense. It's really, really strong spot for him. And if I guess there's really not any extra outs other than Batum to keep us extra involved in this bench rotation here, right? Do we expect Marcus Morris to start here? If so, 28 minutes for him. He's really cheap on both sides. Marcus Morris, 45 on FanDuel. He probably gets the most minutes out of the front court. Guys like Ibaka, Hartenstein, Zubac. So I guess that. But I think the big boys are the apple of my eyes from this one. And then I think Reggie Jackson on FanDuel, I get to him probably more than I should. Quad says maybe AD run it back with PG. Yeah, I just like how PG will be off the radar. Maybe Paul George on FanDuel, $1,100 cheaper than DK. Put him in that small forward spot. You can still get your studs and scrubs exposure today, but Paul George has true 50 fantasy point potential. I got him projected for 52.5 FanDuel points, and going against a Russell Westbrook led team, there's plenty of steal opportunities. Do I have steals allowed per game? Let me go team metrics. Steals per game allowed. Houston's up there. The Clippers and the Lakers are 4 and 5. So yeah, Paul George could definitely beef up those defensive peripherals for FanDuel's sake, right? Where we at? We're at 79 likes. Man, if there's 21 of you guys out there that haven't hit that like button and you want to see a giveaway, we'll do one. If not, we'll save it for Monday. Makes no difference to me, but I do appreciate everyone that's out there lurking anyway. The other request would be to hit that sub button. So we started this stream at 5,663 subs, and we only made one sub this stream, so a lot less than yesterday. So if you're out there and you haven't subbed yet, and you want to show some love, man, it's free. Hit that sub button on YouTube. It's free to subscribe, free to hit that thumbs up, and then you might get a free week pass if you are part of the movement to get this to 100, right? Any lasting questions, comments, concerns? Now is the time. Throw them in chat. We'll try and knock them out and try and get you guys out of here pretty quickly, and I'll get into that pre-lock Discord, right? Josh says, do you think the Pelicans keep it close tonight? I think so. I think the absence of Porzingis is not insignificant. I did say I wanted to revisit the Embiid usage and production without Tobias Harris. So let's do that, make good on that real quick, and then if you guys get to 100 likes, we'll do the giveaway. It had to be a quick giveaway too. Embiid. Oh shoot, we did that backwards. Let's put Toby off, Embiid on, and let's bring it to this season for sample size. I'm hungry. 1.7 DKP per minute, 589 minutes of sample size, 39% usage rate. We'll be out here playing some Embiid tonight. I feel like this isn't from this season. There's no way that we have this many minutes. Let me reset the 2021. All right, 1.4. That's still very, very good. 34% usage rate. Yeah, Embiid versus Trae Young. I really like that in like tournaments, but it's hard to get away from Luka. Anything else in the chat? Thibault with Harris out. I mean, Thibault probably stars, maybe Gorgeous Nang, but I wouldn't. Thibault is not like a massive offensive guy. If he's gonna get there, he's probably gonna have a big defensive game. Block, steal, stuff like that. Maybe old school Anunoby, but at 3,300, a shot at 28, 30 minutes isn't untouchable. So, yeah, I could get there, but I wouldn't be sweating him scoring. I'd be real scoring. I'd be sweating his defensive peripherals. What up, E Brown? What up, Jesse? Best guess on who starts for Harris? I think it would either be Thibault or Gorgeous Niang. Would be my guess. Will you go with Aldridge at 45% owned on FanDuel? Is he really going to remain 45% owned? I have some concerns. Nick Claxton said he would be available today, so I don't know. I guess if Aldridge was in the starting lineup, I'd feel better about it, right? And then I would kind of think 28 minutes is still coming his way. But if Claxton's in, it would be him, Millsap, Claxton, Aldridge. Could get some small ball KD. So I'm a little bit more concerned about the minutes there. I don't know. Aldridge at 40%. That's just an aggressive number for anybody on this size slate. But I like to play individually, but I don't think it's like worth like say 40% on this slate. So at that ownership, you just ask yourself, is Aldridge's probability of being the optimal power forward 40%? Meaning 40% of this the times you play this slate is Aldridge the best play to win a tournament? Probably not that high. That's probably way more, way higher than it should be. So I'd probably want to be closer to 20%. My projection for him on FanDuel, I had him at 34 fantasy points. So, I mean, that's very, very good for 5,700. But yeah, that ownership with a couple of floating question marks is a little bit unsettling, to say the least. Kickstarter says, do you think Korkmaz starts or Gorgeous Niang starts? They could go with either. I think in this spot, with John Collins and Clint Capela in that front court, you probably want a little bit more size than go sell out for like 4 guards. So they probably want to put some Thibault in. With that said, Thibault is a strong defender, so that's probably even more resistance to a guy like John Collins, which would probably boost the offensive output of Trae Young even more, and then Kevin Huerter as well. So if Thibault was in the starting lineup, a little bit more pushback defensively for the front court of the Hawks. Can the Clippers keep it close with Lakers, them having the big three available? Arizona, come on, man. It's the Lakers. Lakers have not proven to be offensive juggernauts this season. I guess the Clippers did just get stunned the other night, but still. I won't ever project a Lakers blowout. Heck, it's only a 2-point spread, right? So I got to kind of lean with the spread. Jesse says, look to Wowie with Harris out. Tough call. Minutes are pretty tight at 3 options. Yeah, why did Dwight Howard play 35 minutes last game? So Tizzle, DeAndre Jordan started that last game. And if you remember, the Lakers were getting smoked. Remember, LeBron James was out that game. And then at halftime, they decided to change things up against the Kings. And Dwight Howard started the second half. And I think Dwight Howard has officially solidified him over DeAndre Jordan as the guy. He not only started the second half, but he played every minute except 2 minutes in the second half. Now, he's probably not going to be a 30-minute player every game, but it wouldn't be crazy for me to look at him to get deeper minutes. DeAndre Jordan only played 4 minutes that game. I don't know if he went down a couple minutes in and then decided they decided he can't keep playing that game. But that's what happened. Dwight Howard had to fill in for DeAndre Jordan's minutes in the second half, and then just straight up, DeAndre Jordan never touched the court again after his first quarter rotation. Embiid or Durant in tiers? Embiid. What's up, Valdo? Any interest in Mobley at low ownership? I didn't really have him on my radar. I guess if you're just interested in ownership for potential minutes and ability, I have him at 37 FanDuel points, 34 DKP. That's nothing staggering. Like we said, the Wizards have been a strong defense. It should be a low pace, low total game. So I don't really think he's one of the low owned pivots I would lean on versus someone else at that price point. So no, not really. Thoughts on Seth Curry? I think one of Seth Curry or Tyrese Maxey is going to be great, but it is going to be a coin flip getting that one right. It looks like Seth Curry recently on the court with Embiid has had better numbers, especially usage wise. But I still think, knowing that those guys would largely be scoring dependent, at least Seth Curry would, that it's volatile. But I think they'll be in the back end of the player pool. We love guards against the Hawks, right? So yeah, I don't mind getting to, like, if Thibault started, that's less scoring in the lineup for him. I don't expect Danny Green to be a big scorer either, right? So it would probably be Seth Curry just by an inch, but Maxi's fine too. I'll probably have both, but Seth Curry just feels a little bit more comfortable just based on the price point, and I had him at not similar projections, but within 5. Seth Curry was trailing Maxi about 5 points in both 4 points in both projections. So I'll take the 4-point margin of difference for the salary savings. Would you run Luka and Brunson in the same lineup on FanDuel? Yes. I don't think it's negatively correlated. Brunson's pretty cheap on both sides to get to 30 plus. I think he should be second to Luka, maybe even above Luka in terms of maybe it's a stretch, but I think he's fine. I think he's the number 2 guy in fantasy points and probably real points here, unless Hardaway went stupid. 31st lineup for Curry. Not sure about 20. Yeah, same. I don't think I get to Steph Curry in 20 lineups. I'm not sure about 50 lineups either. Maybe. But would you crunch 100 and he got into the 31st one? Makes sense. The thing about Curry is like you never want to overcompensate his projection based on a bad matchup because it is Steph Curry. But yeah, the eye test shows that the Suns do have a decent scheme and blueprint to being a problem for him. So it is what it is. What value players you're looking to fit in Luka and Harden? I mean Brunson, right? If I go look at the top value plays on, I guess you're thinking about FanDuel. FanDuel's pricing is a lot softer tonight, so I don't think it's going to be that hard. Dwayne Dedman, obviously, Brunson. Karis LeVert projects okay, or really great, actually. Cameron Johnson, the value plays from the Suns still exist. Cameron Johnson, almost said Cameron Artist Payne. Cameron Payne, and Maxi Kleber. Don't forget about Kleber here. Could easily get lost in the sauce without Porzingis, and it's not unlike him to come in for a decent game at a really low price point. So a couple names to think about. Maxi projection without Harris. I haven't altered that yet. I got to go do that now. I got to get in that rundfs.com VIP Discord. Guys, man, I appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day on a Friday afternoon. We'll be back live on Monday. I have tinkered with the idea of throwing up a Sunday video for previewing the slate, but I don't know what Sunday looks like yet. But I do want some more content on the channel to say that I'm trying to get to 6K subs. So maybe look out for that. I'll probably tweet about it if I do it. Tomorrow morning I'll be on the Awesemo channel with EMAC taking a look at Saturday slate before they jump into college football. But right now, I'm going to the rundfs.com NBA VIP Discord. Hope to see a bunch of you guys there. If not, I love you guys. Enjoy the weekend. Be safe. Happy December, man. Soak in that family time. Soak in the scenes of the Christmas tree in a movie. And if you're lucky like me, your girl in your arm. And hopefully you make some money tonight, man. I love you guys. I hope you crush it tonight. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.